Welcome back, everybody. It's last call. I got strong armed into joining,
No, I was
but
just confused. I didn't realize you
but
were trying to back out of it.
I do have a full vodka, so it's okay.
Yeah, it'll be all right. And I got another beer.
I drink so much vodka on the cruise.
Good, man. Did you meet anybody cool?
Oh, I mean, dude, that's the cool thing about these cruises. We did the '80s cruise last year and '90s this year. We're gonna do '90s again next year. Is the artists are so approachable, and like, I mean, when I was listening to Sophie B. Hawkins, Lisa Loeb came over and told me to be quiet. So
A bitch.
no, it was.
Was
I
she like
mean, we
Canadian
were
or
in the
something
back. We were
too?
in the
What she
back
thinks
of
she can tell you what to do on a boat?
we were in the back of the venue at the. I mean, literally against the wall at a bar, and I was just talking to this one guy, and she came over and told us to be quiet, and we did. It was fine. But no, hung out with Lit a little bit. They were around a lot. We didn't spend too much time with them, but we hung out with them for a little bit. Spent a while with Jesus Jones, just sitting at one of the English bar
Who's
there.
Jesus Jones?
The right here, right now, right here, right
Oh,
now.
good
Only
God.
the
It's like the
time.
sound of the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, who else we talked to? Talked to Art, the front man for Everclear for a bit. Lisa Loeb, talked to her quite a bit afterwards after we settled our disputes and whatnot. I'm trying to remember. Collective Soul, which is the sad part is, Collective Soul was the one band that's from Atlanta and did not talk to them at all. They actually they played when we were at Cozumel, and they actually flew to Cozumel to do the shows on the boat and then flew out. Like, they didn't actually stay on the boat at all. I think I heard the bassist did. The bassist was there for the entire time, but the rest of the band didn't. And they didn't even come out to do any kind of autograph signings or stuff, which I had my Braves hat. I wanted them to sign because I never owned a Collective Soul album. But I can't remember everybody at the moment. But there was a kick ass 90s cover band called Fool House, Fool House, and
Oh,
they played 3 different shows and just brought the house down. Like, I told one of the guys, I'm like, "You guys were worth the price of admission alone on this boat." It was just so much fun. They were a real hard rock band, and they played, hard rock music from the '90s, alternative music. But then they played Britney Spears as well, but in a hard, way. It was put on a good performance, a good show. Talked to those guys quite a bit as well. Yeah, talked to pretty much everybody that was there. Oh, Digital Underground. Digital Underground were fantastic. Humpty is so cool and
yeah.
hilarious. And absolutely, he ran the bingo session like the last day we were there.
What?
And I know. It was a lot of fun. And again, I was drinking my vodka drinks pretty much sunrise to late into the AM hours. So I was.
In that movie, oh my God, I'm doing a really bad job. Office Space,
Mhm.
the dorky one.
Yeah, Michael Bolton.
Michael Bolton. Yeah, I was like, I've been involved. I've been paying attention to politics. I wanted a John Bolton. I was like, that's not right. That's the Warhawk guy. I don't want him. I want the musician, Michael Bolton.
Yeah.
I in high school, I was him, listening to like hardcore gangster rap and then like
Right.
rolling the window up when like people would like pull up next to me because I didn't want them to know.
You were afraid you weren't allowed to listen to it.
Well, there was a lot of like inward drops and stuff, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't know if I'm supposed to even have that coming out of my car. I know I'm not supposed to say it, but I don't know if like I can even. I
Listen
don't know if
to
I'm
it.
supposed to hear it. But like I was really big into Tupac, and Digital Underground is where Tupac came up. Like his very first vocal anything that was
Yeah.
famous was on a Digital Underground
Eh,
track. He played keyboards for him.
yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, they talked a little bit about him as well. Showed pictures of him. So the Digital Underground show though was kind of cool. It was them, Color Me Bad, and why am I blanking on the third band right now? But they had 3 of them, that really only had a handful of like radio played songs and everything. But they did this little mashup of all their music together, and it was a whole lot of fun. It was a whole lot of fun. That was probably one of the more entertaining shows that we saw. But everybody kind of killed it, and there's interviews and um, game shows and trivia and stuff like that. But I mean, everyone's on the boat the entire except for Collective Soul, are on the boat the whole time. So John Popper, super Blues Traveler,
Oh,
super
he's
cool.
the lead
Hang
singer,
out.
the hair fat guy?
Yeah, he's not as big as he used to be, but
Mm, good.
yeah, and Kim got one of his harmonicas. So
Oh, good. Don't touch it. That sounds gross.
I know
Those things get
Cooper
spitty.
picked it up. Cooper picked it up and started playing it today.
Oh,
I'm like, no.
oh, forever unclean.
Although he did, I mean, granted, he was on it, but he said that he used to buy like these really nice he'd buy like a really nice harmonica and use that, and then he'd have to get them like regularly tuned, and it was just a
You'd,
pain in
like,
the
fuck
ass.
it up basically, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. And so, he would start buying them for, like, $60, and he's like, he used 1 per show. Actually, he was using 1 per show, so 8 shows, $60, and I don't have to worry about it again. And then he would start tossing it he'd toss it out at the end of the show, and it became a thing where people were, like, expecting him to toss out harmonicas, so he pretty much buys 1 for, every 2 or 3 songs that he does, and he would toss out, like, 4 or 5 of them and
mm.
everything. So he's like, "Yeah, it became more expensive than I wanted it to be, but it's a cool fan tradition, and he enjoys it."
In
He was
terms of
super
the amount
cool,
of money he's made off of the music, it's a drop in the bucket. He's doing alright,
for
I'm
sure.
sure.
And what a cool thing event for these guys to do, because 'cause I'm like, so we all paid a couple grand to be there. They're getting paid, I don't know how much, probably a few grand,
Something.
and they get to be on the boat for free, you
I was
know?
gonna say, yeah, they get to spend a week on the boat and, like, do a performance and call bingo or something, like, I'll take it. I would take that every day. That'd be
Yeah,
rad.
it was super cool. I highly recommend. We went on um, just a traditional cruise for our honeymoon, now almost 11 years ago, and that was great, loved it. We're like, "We gotta do this more often. Cruises are the most awesome thing ever," and then we didn't because we were having kids like rabbits, and then since in the past, um 2 years. This was now my 3rd themed cruise. It was Kim's 2nd themed cruise, and she's actually going on her college is doing a themed cruise, in a couple of weeks, and I'm like, I would never go on a traditional cruise again. We were on there, we were talking to some people, and they're like, "Yeah, this is our first cruise ever." We're like, "Don't ever go on a non-themed cruise. It's fun, it's awesome, but it's not this much fun unless you're just wanting to go and sit on a pool deck and listen to a random assortment of music and whatever."
Well, I've done the travel thing now where I'm like, "Oh, I wanna stop at the port and go and, like, explore for the whole day. I wanna be off the boat as much as I can." But, like, you can only do that once or twice before you're like, I'm really just here for the cruise."
Yeah, we did. So they had 2 ports. It was Cozumel and Costa Maya. We hit Cozumel on our honeymoon, so we weren't really super looking forward, like, to go out and doing anything. So we kinda went out there to the port, bought the trinkets for the kids, and turned around and came back. And we did the same thing at Costa Maya, which is, like, no time difference from Cozumel. It's the exact same thing. But their port, there was, like, 4 or 5 ships all docked there. Their port was completely shoulder to shoulder packed. There was a bar with a pool, and there was just kids everywhere, and we were both like, "Nope, let's back to the boat." So we spent those 2 port days pretty much just at the pool deck hanging out, which was fun. We enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
no, I mean, I think when you got the kids, that does make sense. I'm trying to look if Costa Maya is where I was. I went somewhere in Mexico, and we went and found some pyramids or something.
Yeah, they've got all those, temple things. I feel like though, if and I've never done any of that those types of excursions, but I feel like it would just be touristy. Like, I just don't wanna go on a shuttle with a bunch of other cruise goers to go to a place with a bunch of other cruise goers all walking around, taking the same pictures and all that jazz. I'm like, "Ah," because there were some guys dressed up and, at Costa Maya, a big stage set up, and I assume it's Mayan, traditional garb and stuff with the
Yeah.
big headdresses and everything, and people were getting their pictures taken, and I'm like, I don't think these guys really wear this clothes regularly other than for work.
No. Yeah, we didn't do that. That's not where that was. But when we got we didn't do any of the cruise excursions. We just sorta got off the boat and found, like, a cabbie who would we're like, "Hey, here's
Oh, you wanted to die. My bad. I didn't realize that's what you were doing.
It
and
was
you had
okay.
your kid.
We didn't Lizzie was on the boat, so if we
Oh,
died,
you up
she'd be
there?
taken care of. She'd
But
be fine.
do they actually have a thing? Well, if we die or don't get back on the boat, does she just like stay in like the room by herself until you
They'd
guys?
figure it out, alright? Do you know, like, there are yeah, it would've been fine. She wouldn't have
Yeah,
died with us, which would have been the most important thing to me. But yeah, so, like, where we just got a cab for that one, and it was not super touristy. We didn't even buy a tour or anything. We just sorta, like, hung out near tours if we wanted to hear about what we were, like, looking at.
yeah.
And there was one, but I think it was, like, Colombia, though, where we wanted to go out into the mountains and see this, like, waterfall or something, and, like, the cabbie negotiated with us at the boat and then, sorta slowed down in the mountains and renegotiated.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Once we
yeah.
were significantly far away from the port, was like, "Yeah, you know what? I know we agreed to something, but if you wanna get back, like, let's talk about this."
Yeah.
It
See,
worked
that's why I
out,
don't
but
wanna.
it was a little weird.
I've got no problem negotiating on a stupid silver pendant for my kids, which I did get. I forget what we bought. We were trying to buy something, and he was wanting like $98 American $98, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. And I say I like to negotiate. I don't like to negotiate, but I will. But I just make Kim do it, and so I just look at her. I'm like, offer him $40 and walk, and I just left, and I overheard her say it, and he goes, okay. So we got it for more than half off.
Yep.
And I'm sure it's a $2 trinket.
That's what you're supposed that Georgia State, tiki mask that I had?
Yeah.
I didn't negotiate one bit.
Alright.
He gave me a price in Mexico, and I just said, "Yeah, I'll do that." And then as we were walking away, Laurie was like, Why didn't you negotiate? Like, why'd you pay full price for that?" And I'm like, "Why didn't you help me? I had no idea.
Well,
I forgot that's what you do."
apparently, stuffed animals are super expensive in these areas, or they just know that people are gonna buy them for their
You
kids no matter
negotiate. You're
what.
supposed to negotiate, and lots of people don't know they're supposed to negotiate. Like, I
No, well, like, no, that
fucking
we
forgot.
got somehow promised our son that we would get. My son was promised that he would get a stuffed lizard while we were there, and at Cozumel, everything was absurdly priced, and I'm like, "This is stupid, I'm not buying this," whatever, I just walked out, and then we went to Costa Maya, we couldn't find really anywhere, and so we paid 38 American for and they didn't come off the price at all, and I
That's
was like, "It's
weird.
weird,
Maybe you
very
gotta get a
weird."
little off the beaten path, like, if you're in the super touristy area, it's like, "No, this is the price, we don't haggle."
Yeah, and that's why I say about Costa Maya, it was super, super packed, and I'm like, "Ah,
I bet they still woulda haggled.
eh, well, we tried, but
Yeah,
no." No,
whatever.
that was the price there, but, it was a good time. The Georgia State mask, they didn't we looked at all the different places because NFL and college teams are everywhere. Just the stuff, the trinkets, the things they're selling. We ended up buying a Falcons bag, because we needed stuff to carry all our crap back, our
You're like, "We'll
$39
use
was.
this again."
Yeah, exactly. That was the thing. I was like, well, we both packed our bags so tight, we couldn't really bring anything back anyways. So we're like, well, let's just buy a bag here and we'll and yeah, so we got Falcons. But we looked at anything that was college branded, and it was everywhere. I was like, if Ryan found a Georgia State mask, I'm gonna find Georgia State something. Nothing.
I thought it was weird, man. I thought it was weird that I found it, and I think
Yeah,
it was. I think it was
yeah.
really weird.
And there a lot of Georgia but didn't come to think of it, I'm not sure if I even saw Georgia Tech. Definitely didn't see Kennesaw or TDS or any of those, but I remember seeing Georgia, and it never even crossed my mind. I don't think I saw Tech, but, obviously a lot of Kansas City Chiefs fans on this boat buying a bunch of Kansas City crap 'cause they're in stupid Super Bowl.
We were up in Helen for New Year's, and, there's a couple of sports shops in there. I didn't go into them, and, Denver was like, "What do you wanna bet? They don't have Georgia State stuff," and I was like, "I don't wanna bet anything. I don't even wanna go find out because
I know for
I
a
bet they
fact.
don't. I bet they don't, and I don't wanna know that. I wanna just
Live my life in ignorance.
yeah, I'd rather just not be upset about that and not go in."
Yeah, I am the opposite. I go in there to self-loathing or whatever you wanna call it. I go in there
"Hey, why
to
don't you have
hate
Georgia
myself.
State stuff in here?" They're like, "Who?" Like, "God damn it, it's worse. It's worse than I imagined."
No, no, what would be worse is if they pointed you to the TDS stuff. Is it right here?
I don't know, man. There'd be like a hate crime happening.
I think I'm done.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Thanks, Ryan, for listening. We'll talk to you next week, hopefully with Tim,
A few
and
days from now. Yeah.
get some more perspective. We'll have some Buffalo to talk about. So, and Super Bowl and Buffalo wings, they all go together. Say goodbye, guy.
Yeah, goodbye.